Welcome to the Compliance video series. Today we will be talking about SkySlope. I will be showing you how to create listings and upload the documents needed for that listing.
We're going to go ahead and start with create listing though. I'm going to click on this button right here. So right when you get a listing, you get it signed by your seller, you're going to log into SkySlope and click on the create listing button to start creating your file. So we're just creating a folder now in which we will begin submitting our documents. So on here, I'm just going to start filling out the red fields. Those are the most important and required to get us to the next page. So in here, let's just say I'm going to type in 333 as the street number, and the street name we can just say, Sunnyvale Way. The zip code, you want to type that in first, so it'll auto-populate the state, city, and county. So I'll type in 93301. Tabbing over will auto-populate that state, city, and county fields for you. The type here, we're going to go ahead and choose resale. If you have a co-listing agent, you can click the add button to add them in here. If you have a list price, you can type that in here. Let's just say $5 million. And then your built, we can say maybe 2,000. The source, you can go ahead and choose what the source of your listing was. Let's say it was a previous customer. And then we have the commission percentages. We'll say 3% and 3%. These fields work as flat amount fields, so you can always type in a flat amount into these fields. The list date right here, you can go ahead and type in, or select from the calendar rather. Let's say it was on Friday. And right here we have an expiration date. I can go ahead and use this calendar feature to click the arrow and choose February of 2014. Any additional notes or information about your commission or anything that's not available in the fields here, you just want to type in this note box here. Any information at all, you can type here. Referring agent, click the add button here to add them in, etc. Those are just the mandatory fields. Then we'll go ahead and click on next. On the contacts page, you can see here we have seller. We have first and last name is required here. I can go ahead and just start typing those in and clicking save. Or you can use the email address to auto-populate a contact. So if you've worked with a seller or an investor or a title company or another contact in the system more than once, we will save that via the email address. So make sure you do type in an email. That's how our system knows to save it. So for example, let's type the letter J. You can drop down and see that I've got a John in here. If I click on that, it'll paste in all of his information based on the last time that we worked together. Of course, I can go in here and I could update it if I'd like to. Once you're done, you're going to click on the blue save button right here. You can see it'll gray that out and save that information. Right here I can click add new if I want to add multiple sellers. You can keep clicking this button to add more boxes down here to type in more contacts. At the left side you have a home warranty button. You can click on that and enter the home warranty. Once you're done, click on the red submit button. So to save changes in the system, always make sure you click a next or a save button. That will save your previous page. So now that I've finished and got to the checklist, my contacts and my listing pages are saved, so I can always go back and review those and edit any data needed. Next, you see that we have a checklist. It's color coded so we can see what's required. The red will always be the urgent items that we need to upload and turn into the checklist for review. There are several different ways to get your documents turned into the system. One way is email. So if you work with a client that maybe had all the documents on paper, they signed them all and scanned them to you, you can actually just take that email and forward it to this property email address. You can see in this case it is the street name followed by the street number at skyslope.com. You always want to make sure and double check this email just in case you made any typos, just in case there was a duplicate property, maybe you relisted this after a couple months or a couple years, because our system will automatically pick up on any duplications of street names and street numbers in the system, and will automatically add a digit to it. So do keep in mind that this email here is auto-generated, and you always want to highlight it and copy it so you don't make any mistakes on that. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my email. Now I know everyone has their own specific email that they use. In this case, I happen to use a Gmail. So here you can see from John here, I've got a listing package for our property here, and it's attached. You don't have to print it and separate it. You're just going to take the whole package and you're going to take the email and you're going to forward it to that property email address like this. Paste and send. So from any smartphone or iPad, any device at all, you're going to just take emails that you get from other people that have attachments and forward them into the system. This is also very important when emailing a client with any information at all too. So if I just want to email my client, I'm going to add CC here, and I'm going to paste in the SkySlope email like that, because SkySlope will also remember any emails that you send to that email address and save it as correspondence. So if you normally save all of your emails in Outlook in folders, or print them out, or save them as PDFs, all you have to do is remember to CC the SkySlope email address for your property, and it will save a copy of that email in your log. So back to SkySlope, I just took the email and forwarded it to my document section, so that's where all attachments go. A copy of the email will also be saved in my log section. So that's two different areas that it'll be saved in now. That was one way to get our documents in. Another way is you can fax directly into the system as well. So if you have documents all on paper, or a client that prefers to fax, what you need is a fax cover. This will tell the documents where to go. So if I click on fax cover, you can type in a file name. You can really name this whatever you'd like to. Click save. Creates a PDF. We're going to click to open it. Let me zoom in a little bit. This is a fax cover sheet. If you print this out, it is specific to your property file. So if you print this out and place it on top of your documents, you can fax to the number that appears here at the top. This number is always the same. What's different for each cover sheet is the file name. So I called it listing docs, and the barcodes. The barcodes will tell the fax where to go. So if you print this out, place it on top of your documents, fax to the number on there, it will appear here in your document section. The document section here is where all of your documents will be saved. So you can imagine this will be a long list at some point. You do want to make sure that any documents loaded in here, you can see this one wasn't named, the document named, it was just called a package. That's because my client named it. So if you ever have documents that you're just uploading here, do make sure that you label them in a way that's easy for you to find, and also has the prefix and the CAR abbreviation on them. That way it's easy to find and you can quickly attach to the checklist. Right here you can see that package. That is the one that I emailed in. If I had faxed one in, it would also appear in this area here. So that's two ways now we've talked about getting documents in. A third way is you have an upload button right here. This is a way that I can just take documents right from my desktop and upload them into the file. So I can upload pictures, I can upload Excel sheets, Word docs, whatever I'd like to. Let's just click on upload. And right here, you can go to your desktop and I can scroll down. Let me find my sample docs. From here I can take any of these documents and upload them right into the file. You can take as many as you want and upload them all at once. Click on Start Upload. Click OK. And now those documents are into the system. Next thing is our split tool. So you can see here we have a package that our client sent, or maybe it was the agent that sent me all the disclosures. I want to separate those out so I can place them onto my checklist. At the right side you have a split button, so make sure you aren't scanning these one by one or doing them one at a time. This is going to allow me to very quickly split all the documents and place them right onto my checklist. So when you click the split button, notice it opens a document here at the right, so that way I can see what each document's named. And here at the left, I'm going to be able to name the file and separate the documents from page from and page to. So right here you have a listing agreement. So right here, I'm going to type in the letter L. Notice it drops down with a list of items on my checklist that have the letter L in it. So if I want to narrow this down, I can add some more letters like this. And there's my listing agreement with seller advisory. Click that. And it's going to add the name to it like that. Next, I can scroll through here just to make sure that I get the pages correct. So I'm going to include the listing agreement with the seller advisory, and that's the first 7 pages. So here I'm going to make sure it's a 1, and then here I'm going to make sure it's a 7, like that. Next we have the agency disclosure. It's a 1-page form. I can type in the agency like this, click on it, and I can go 8 to 8, since it's a 1-page document. And that's all I have left to split on here as an example. Next you want to click on this blue split and assign button. If I just click the gray split button, it's just going to separate the forms, but these are executed documents that I want to get reviewed. So I'm going to actually assign them to the checklist as well. So I'm going to click on the blue split and assign. Here at the top it says nice job. You have attached, you've split 2 documents and assigned them to the checklist. So I'll click on OK. And notice the screen takes me right to the checklist where now my agency, AD, is in review, and my listing agreement with the seller advisor is also in review. So that's how you can split documents and automatically place them onto the checklist. Again, keep in mind that everything is color coded on here, so you can see that once it's attached, you can check it via the paperclip, and it will go to this orangish in review color. Continue on, we still have two more requirements that we want to get turned in. There are two more ways to get documents attached here. So I can click attach right here next to the DA, attach. And because I've already added it into my document section during that multiple upload phase, you can see that it's right here. If you ever get lost, or for example, you get a phone call right now and you have to walk away and you're trying to remember what document you need to attach, you can always see right here in bold what I'm looking for. So now I'm going to look through my document list. There's my DA, and I'll click the assign button. And that will attach to the checklist. The last one here is my MLS printout. Now this document's just sitting on my desktop. I want to attach it right to the checklist. That way I don't have to load it to the document section and then attach it. And I also don't need to split it since it's only a one-page form. So I'm just going to upload it directly to the checklist. And this is our fourth and final way to get a document uploaded into the system. So right here it's required, and I'm going to click the attach button. And then I'm going to click on Browse File right here. Takes me into my computer where there's my MLS printout. And I'll open it. And then always make sure you click on the Start Upload button. So once you get a document loaded in here, it's not enough to make sure to just leave now and exit, turn your computer off. You want to make sure you click Start Upload. And that's going to confirm and also lock that document into the system. So now I've uploaded and attached it right there, and you can see it's now in review. All of our red items are gone, and we have now finished our stage 1 review process. So a great way to email compliance and to have this checklist reviewed is to go to the document section. Here to the right side, you have an email button. So this is a great way to email out of the system. You click email right here. I can also attach as many documents as I'd like right here. So you can see if I want to include certain documents, I can check the boxes and attach those. And that will add them to the email for me. Up here, I have a to field. I'm going to go ahead and type in an email address. I'm going to use sample emails for this, and just to show you how it works. Let's just say that I want to email compliance@kw.com. Maybe I want to include MCA department as well. You want to use a semicolon, and then hit the space bar, and then type in, let's just say MCA@kw.com. And these are example emails. So like that, it's going to go to both of these contacts by using the semicolon and then a space like that. Right here, you want to click on, sorry about that. Right here, you want to also click in the subject bar and type in what review stage you're in. So let's just say first review. And that will keep in the subject line that first review. Here you can type in some comments or notes, whatever you'd like to, and then click on send. And that will email directly from the system. The next thing I'm going to cover is the log section right here. The log is your digital footprint. Everything that you do in the file is tracked in the log section. From the time and date you created the listing to when you've added your contacts in. All the emails that you're CCing into the system will be stored here. That way you don't have to save them on your own. They'll all be stored in the log section. You have time and dates documents were added, and even when you emailed out of the system. So everything is tracked here in the log section. When your file is reviewed, you will see notes and comments in here as well, and see who actually reviewed your file. But how you're going to know your file is reviewed will be your checklist. The checklist here, keep in mind, is color coded. So when we're looking at this section here, each item is going to be reviewed by compliance via this paperclip. If everything is approved, the item will turn green and go to completed. If something is missing, it'll turn purple and it'll say incomplete, and there'll be a comment in the box here. So you'll actually see exactly what's missing on your checklist. It'll all be color coded. If you ever have questions on any of these items, you can leave comments in here as well. So if you ever wonder if I need to get a document signed by my seller, you can always type in the notes here, question for compliance, and then you can click on the save. So do make sure you click on save. We always want to save our changes in the system. Click on Save. And you can see it will lock that note in. When compliance sees this question, they'll be able to respond back on the checklist, and you can always click the little blue arrow to see all the notes back and forth. The correspondence regarding the items on the checklist will be done via email. So you're going to get an email back from compliance showing you exactly what's missing and what's completed on your file. So pulling up my email, here's an email on my file. You can see here I've completed 2 documents, and I'm missing a signature on the listing agreement, for example. We also see we've completed 2 other documents. So everything is color-coded to see what's there and what's missing on our file. You can always click the hyperlink right here. It'll take you to our login screen. You can log in and correct any changes or missing items on this checklist. I'm going to click on the logo, and that's going to take me back to the home screen. So just a quick recap, we created a listing, we uploaded documents, we split some, and others we just attached right to the checklist. Those are the most important things. We also covered how to get documents into the system, as well as our email and tracking log. The next button that we have here is Manage Listings. You can click this button here. And what this shows is all of your current active listings. Everything you have active as a listing right now will be here. When you're ready to go into contract with one of these listings and you have an offer and you accept the offer, you're going to be able to single click on it once, so it'll highlight blue, and then click the Accepted Contract button. Do make sure that you've uploaded your Stage 1 first review documents prior to doing this, or else the system will not allow you to continue. So click it once, highlight it blue, click on Accepted Contract. It'll take the listing, convert it to a transaction. If you need to withdraw this listing, the same thing applies. Just click there once and click on Withdraw Listing. And that was our Manage Listings button. So when you go back into your listings, you're going to see that it's going to be in red. It's going to say Expired, like that. So now SkySlope doesn't do anything with this file. We don't delete it, we don't deactivate it, or lose your access. When something goes expired, that's an indicator to you that you might want to extend this listing, or now we're out of contract on here. So what you want to do is you want to upload any extension paperwork that you normally would get signed and uploaded or turned in. And then when you open up the property, you can change the date just the way that I showed you to make it expired. You can go ahead and click here and you can extend the date out. Click on Next. Always click Next, and that will extend the date.
And that works the same way on sales also?
Correct. That works the exact same way on a transaction as well. You just go ahead and change the closing date. The same way I just showed you right here. Closing date, extend it, and click Next. And that will extend the closing date.
Now, you also said that I have a listing and I have to have all of the documents in and approved before I can go to make it into a transaction?
On the listing side, let me show you the checklist once more. If I'm looking at this list here, this will allow the system will allow me to continue. So the documents don't need to be approved necessarily, they just need to be uploaded to the checklist. So I cannot have any red items on this list. Essentially what that's saying is you can't have a contract on a listing if you don't have a listing agreement turned into the system. So we make sure that the documents are uploaded to the checklist before you can convert it to a sale. Now, compliance may not get a chance to get that to that review portion yet, so we still allow you to continue as long as you have the documents uploaded. So once they're uploaded, you can convert it to a sale.
Now, if you said that if I have a listing, I can convert it to a contract, where does all those listing tasks, where do they show up in the contract?
So when you take a listing and you click this Accepted Contract button, it's going to take you through the very same process that we went through when we created a transaction file. I'm going to fill out the contacts page, the commission, I have the choice to fill out the property tab, and then I'm going to get to a checklist. On the checklist, I'll see my second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth reviews. Right below that, you also see your first review, your listing documents. So essentially, SkySlope will take your sales transaction checklist and stack it on top of your listing checklist. That way you can still review the listing requirements and add more to the listing side if you need to while you're in the transaction.
So once I converted to a transaction, I'm going to get to this file by going to transactions, not listings anymore.
Correct. So when you take a listing and convert it to a transaction, it's going to appear in your pending transactions area. Everything in escrow will be in pending transactions. Managed listings are only your active current listing files with no accepted offers. Everything else will be in your pending transactions area.
That concludes this session of the compliance video series, SkySlope, Create Listings and Document Upload Instructions. Thank you for viewing.